Happy Saturday afternoon, Facebook friends. Father Frank Pavone here, National Director of Priests for Life, speaking to you from Washington, D.C. I hope you're having a great weekend. I certainly am. I'm here in Washington, D.C. for meetings yesterday and also today and into tomorrow with many leaders from around the country and leaders here in Washington, D.C. who are assisting in the transition team of President-elect Trump, assisting in both choosing and evaluating and preparing for the appointment of new people who will serve in the White House, who will serve in the president's cabinet, who will serve in many other positions. As we told you during the election, when you elect the president, you also elect a whole army of people whom he will bring with him to serve this nation in so many different capacities. And as Scripture urges us to pray for those in public service, so I want to ask you today to continue with us the prayer campaign that we started during the election cycle. As you know, I was always asking you to pray with me at electionprayer.com. And now we are going to continue the prayer campaign. This is not something that should stop, because what we have to pray for now are all the different people who are starting to get appointed to various positions in the new administration. We have to pray for all those who have been elected, starting with our president and vice president-elect. We have to pray for their wisdom and the wisdom of their team in choosing the people who will fill thousands of different positions in the federal government, and especially to pray for their wisdom in choosing those who will serve on the courts, starting with the filling of the first Supreme Court vacancy, which of course has already opened up because of the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. Now, as I say, I'm here in Washington with a lot of the people who have served in other administrations during the transition and who are helping President-elect Trump with this particular transition. And let me point out to you a dynamic that we're going to see over and over again in a way that you and I can help. The other side is scared. The liberal, pro-abortion side that lost this election, they are afraid of what's going to happen with the kind of people that President-elect Trump is going to and is already appointing. And they know that they can't redo the election. Some of them don't seem to realize that the election is over. But so what they try to do is the next best thing. They try to intimidate everybody so that if somebody is appointed to a position, and I'll give you some particulars in a moment, that they don't like, and of course they're not going to like anybody that gets appointed in this administration, because again, there are going to be solid people, experienced people, pro-life people, people who can advance the agenda for the good of our country on issues that we're all concerned about. So the other side is not going to like these people. And so what they're going to do is attack them. They're going to make very public, vicious attacks against the men and women that the Trump administration, the Trump transition team is going to appoint to various different positions. And those attacks have already begun. Stephen Bannon, whom I have known for years and who has been appointed as chief strategist there at the White House, has been under all kinds of unfair and ridiculous attacks on his person, on his character, on his own positions. And what we have to do is we have to stand up and defend these people. When these attacks are launched, brothers and sisters, we have to be just as loud as the attackers in defense of these people, just as strong, just as fervent in our prayers. We need to make it known that we are in support of the positions, of the choices that the President-elect's transition team is making. Now, just today, in the media, we see all kinds of attacks on the man who has been chosen now by Mr. Trump to serve as our nation's next Attorney General. Also a man that I know, Senator Jeff Sessions. And in fact, he was supposed to be at the meeting that I'm at this weekend, and of course he couldn't come because he was tapped to serve in this very important position. But of course, now there are all kinds of attacks on him in the media. This is a man who has served in the United States Senate since 1997 with a 100% pro-life voting record. This is a man who has served as the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Alabama, where he's from, and as the State Attorney General for the state of Alabama, has a very distinguished record, is very experienced, and believe me, is very solid on everything that we stand for. Had the opportunity to talk with him during the course of the election cycle, and now he has been chosen. He has to be confirmed, of course, by the Senate to serve as our next Attorney General. When the media attacks people like this, we need to be strong in defending them. And if you go online and if you look at various conservative sites and you look at the credentials of these people, and when you see comments against them, comments ridiculing and criticizing them, speak up in their favor. And one of the things we're going to give to you as these days go on and these weeks go on, through our action alerts, which I've told you about and you can sign up for at stopabortionnow.org, is we're going to give you talking points at various times when these different battles erupt, so that you can speak up online and to your family and friends about the qualities of these individuals who are being chosen. Because after all, you chose them. You chose them indirectly, but you knew that by electing Mr. Trump and Mr. Pence, you would be also electing a great team that they would be bringing with them. So now, since we've put these people in this public place of responsibility, we need to rally around them and support them. So speak up in favor of Senator Sessions. Counteract the negativity in the media. Go to the news sites, and you know where they let you leave comments. Put some positive comments there. Say, thank you, Senator Sessions, for the service that you've given to our country. You don't have to be an expert on him or on any of these issues, but thank you, Senator, for the service you've given to our country. We are going to pray for you. We're going to hold you up in prayer, and we're going to keep you in prayer as you serve our country in this important way. So we're going to give you action alerts. Again, if you sign up at stopabortionnow.org, you'll get these action alerts. I'll be sending another one out on Monday. But even on your own, again, on social media, on the websites and conversations, speak up for these people so that we can counteract the negativity on the other side. I'll tell you one of the reasons why the liberal left and the pro-abortion crowd are so angry about the appointment of Senator Jeff Sessions, because they know full well what people like my friend Troy Newman of Operation Rescue, who's also with me here in Washington during these days. We had a lengthy meeting yesterday, and my friend Mark Crutcher and other people are going to do to the abortion industry. What we're going to do to the abortion industry is call for their prosecution. Planned Parenthood is not only going to be defunded by this next Congress and president, they're going to be prosecuted, and it's going to be up to people like Attorney General Jeff Sessions to carry out the enforcement of our laws, the prosecution of those who break those laws. And I'm going to tell you, Planned Parenthood is breaking laws left, right, and center. They cover up sexual predators. They commit all sorts of financial fraud against the government. Planned Parenthood is engaged in the illicit sale of baby body parts for profit. And, they have to face the consequences of the law. Planned Parenthood is not above the law. And they're going to find that out by experience. We are not going to let go of this. We are going to prosecute them until they close. And that's what's going to happen to Planned Parenthood and to the abortion industry. Friends, we're getting the right people into the right positions in order to be able to do this. That's why, as I've been saying all week, we need to stay engaged. Those of us that were engaged in this election, we need to stay engaged, and we need to respond to the kind of action alerts that we send out. And not only do I ask you to sign up for our action alerts at stopabortionnow.org, but I need you to get as many other people to sign up for them as possible, because we're going to need many, many more than we have already. We have quite a few. And the responses, for example, to the action alert I sent out last week are coming in very, very heavy, but we need as many more people as we can get. And this people that you can reach that I can't, so I'm going to rely on you to be the bridge and tell them, listen, we need to stay together, work together, support these right people. The other side is going to attack them like crazy. Can you imagine the attacks that are going to ensue on the first person that President Trump will choose for the Supreme Court or for the other federal courts? And again, I know some of these people who are on the list as potential justices, and they are going to get so attacked, we need to be ready to defend them. Let's not let the other side think that they can get away with the following strategy, that if they whine loud enough, if they disrupt often enough, if they make enough noise and jump up and down like spoiled children, that they can get the administration to give them a more palatable nominee or a more palatable choice for this or that position. I don't think we're going to see them succeed in that, because we have very, very strong people in this administration, starting with our president-elect. So I don't expect any of them to back down. But the fact is, we've got to be rallied around them and say to the other side, you lost the election, that's too bad, and now you're not going to try to intimidate us or our newly elected officials so that they water down the quality or the strength of those that they choose for the courts or for these other positions in our government. So let's speak up for people like Stephen Bannon, who's been chosen for that White House position of chief strategist and counselor. Let's speak up for people like Senator Jeff Sessions, who has served in the Senate so admirably and so strongly, who has served as a state attorney general and is now chosen for our nation's attorney general. This is the biblical mandate. By the way, hey folks, this is spiritual. This is religious. This is moral. I've never seen so much of a disconnect in this election, that is so many people somehow thinking that the church doesn't have a role to play in all of this, or that we as priests are not supposed to be talking about this stuff. Absolutely nonsense. That's not the kind of Christianity I believe in. We believe in a Christianity that is engaged in the world, and that it is a spiritual and moral duty to support those who serve in public office. Spiritual and moral. This is not simply political. And not only that, but political stuff isn't bad. I can't tell you how many people, they seem to have this silly idea that if I stand up and give a political statement, that somehow that's dirty, that's beneath me, that's ugly, that's inappropriate, that doesn't mix with the priesthood or the church. You couldn't be more wrong about that. You couldn't be more wrong. Political statements are absolutely necessary, and it's part of our spirituality. We go forward as Americans. I don't lose 1 ounce of my citizenship, and neither should you, simply because we embrace a particular religion or a particular profession. And by the way, patriotism, and all of this is tied in with patriotism. Speaking up for a Senator Sessions, going out and distributing voter guides like we had you do during the election. This is part of patriotism, and patriotism is a virtue. So let's be clear about that, and let's spread that clarity to others. Thanks so much for being with us on these broadcasts. We'll be coming back to you again tomorrow. And meanwhile, let's continue to pray for each other. And as I said, we're going to continue the prayer campaign for all of these people. And you'll be able to see the links at electionprayer.com. But the broader website for our prayer campaign is Prayer Campaign. Prayercampaign.org, prayercampaign.com also works. But Prayer Campaign is going to be where, as the transition team, and again, I'm meeting with various people who are advising and assisting this weekend here in Washington. But as the transition team does its work, and you see on the news the various people that are being chosen, we're going to have prayer, first of all, for wisdom for the president-elect and his team. We're going to have prayer for the specific people that get chosen, like Senator Sessions. We're going to have prayer for discernment about the judges, and then as the judges are chosen, we're going to have prayer campaigns for them. You want to be involved in that? Can you get other people involved in that? Go to prayercampaign.org and sign up there, and also stopabortionnow.org. That's the action-oriented area. So you've got the prayercampaign.org. You've got the action, stopabortionnow.org. And we are going to have a great season here, friends, of building on these election victories and getting our country on the right path. path. We're going to do it together. Thanks so much for your support of me, of Priests for Life, of the pro-life cause, and of the gospel of Jesus Christ and his church. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. God bless.